Hi, all. This is Jeff Hulett. I'm a decision confidence builder. I lead Personal Finance Reimagined, a decision-making and financial education platform. Also, I teach personal finance at James Madison University. Every month, we discuss different topics leading to your financial success. This month is all about your first big job and creating a job decision process for a lifetime of good job decisions. Personal Finance Reimagined provides content and tools to help recruiters and individuals to make the best job decisions. Today, I'm thrilled to talk with Hadgu Hadgu. Hadgu is a career advisor at James Madison University's Career Center. I first got to know the University Career Center almost 10 years ago when I was a lead advisory partner for KPMG, one of their big employers, and we did a lot of recruiting there. We hired a bunch of amazing students out of JMU. Hadgu and his organization do a great job connecting students and employers. Hadgu has deep experience in college student development as both an instructor and also as an advisor. So welcome, Hadgu.
Thank you, Jeff. Really appreciate the chance to get to talk with you, and you've invited me to your classroom on several occasions to talk about the University Career Center. So definitely appreciate you helping us get the message to our students about the services and the resources that we offer.
Well, I'm super glad to do so, Hadgu. And it's interesting because it's the people don't automatically connect personal finance and career and job decisions. But how I remind the students is, hey, funding your personal finance starts with that good job, right? So to me, what we're
Mhm.
doing in my personal finance class and working with the University Career Center is absolutely hand in glove. So today we're going to discuss how universities support their students getting jobs after they graduate. As an example, we will be discussing JMU's approach to helping their students. We'll also be discussing this topic more generally in terms of what's common across the more typical universities. So I'm going to be asking Hadgu both, hey, what do you do at JMU? Plus, hey, you go to conferences and you talk to others. I'm really trying to make this connection between, hey, what are we doing? What are we seeing really across the Fuller University system? All right. So I just wanted to start with Hadgu, really starting to building an understanding of the benefits for the university. Okay. So if the university focuses on educating students, why is the university so focused on helping students get jobs after they graduate? So, I mean, in my mind, the benefit to the student seems obvious, right? They're going to get that job. But what is the benefit to the university?
Well, and that's a great question to start things off with. I've noticed in talking to folks who represent different colleges within the university, and I've talked to a couple of people in the admissions office. They one of the things they emphasize is our students' career outcomes. How many students are employed after they graduate? And we do pretty well there. So I think these days, especially over the last 20, 30 years, with students saddled with more debt and tuition continually going up, that getting that return on investment from your college experience is more important to families, probably to parents even more than to students. But I think both parents and students find that very important. So if university can demonstrate that by students and parents looking to see our employment rates for graduates, that's very helpful for attracting students to the university.
Right. And I'm wondering, It used to be that it was like I'm thinking like old days, like when I was an undergraduate. So I'm talking about like 30 years ago or something. You know, the most college education costs, it just wasn't that expensive. Like you could go to a major residential university and pretty much work and pay for it, right? Or maybe take out some small loans. But today's, you know, you mentioned something, the words ROI or return on investment, because of the, you know, the costs have certainly gone up much faster than inflation. So today, maybe the point is like, you know, parents, perhaps more than kids, but they're their children, but parents are taking more of a business-like approach. Like, hey, you know, what is we're going to we're putting up some good money here, or or kids are taking out serious loans. You know, what do we get in return for that?
Yeah, yeah. It's more crucial to figure out, well, what is my plan going to be as a student? What is my plan going to be when I graduate? How can I use what I've learned in the classroom,
Right.
and stand out as a college graduate and be able to apply those skills to professional jobs, jobs that have, that pay a living wage and then some, um, from the start. So
Good.
yeah, it is important for
Love
sure.
that. So I heard you say, you know, the colleges, and you know, I'll be honest, I'm very familiar with the College of Business. I've before joining the faculty, I was on the board, one of the College of Business boards, and
Ah,
what I
okay.
remember
Mhm.
what you said, Hadgu, was that, you know, at least once a year or maybe a couple meetings a year, we would always get, you know, the measures of here's how many students graduated and this is the portion that got jobs. And, you know, I'm guessing most of that's kind of self-reported. You know, I was always like, I don't know how good this data is, but it was data suggesting, hey, if you get this major in the College of Business, this is how many of those students within, say, 6 months or a year are really converting into a job that, you know, is a career professional job that relates to the, you know, that major. So anyway, so I guess what I'm sort of doing here is I think I'm agreeing completely with you as like a success measure. Yeah, I mean that seems to be not just the parents that are focused on it, but maybe because the parents are focused on it and the students should be focused on it, that of course the university is going to focus on it as well. Now I am curious, are
Right.
there other success measures besides, you know, jobs or you know, or anything related to jobs that you guys look at when you're measuring sort of, you know, how the students do after they graduate?
Oh, for how they do after they graduate. Honestly, the only one that I can think of is employment rates after
Right,
graduation. Um, the other things are, before then, like retention rate, which
right,
measures how many students stay on at our university, so at James Madison University.
right,
And then they measure, persistence rates are measured kind of like nationally. That's just, the measure of how many students continue on with a college education or with, a post-secondary education, whether they stay at their university or whether they go to another school, that they're going somewhere, they're continuing their education. But yeah, I mean, employment rates are the main thing. Not really sure of other measures.
okay,
But one thing I want to add about employment rates is we talk about it in terms of career outcomes, and that's generally what you imagine it is. What is a student's career outcome? But what we're saying with the career outcome is if a student has a career outcome, that means that either they have a job Could be part-time, could be full-time. Maybe they're going to graduate school. That counts as a career outcome. Maybe they're going to the military. That counts as a career outcome. It's not just a job.
Right. I see. So yeah, there's some nuance there, right? Yeah, it could be working, at a fast food restaurant or something, and that's very different than some other outcomes. Now that actually makes a lot of sense. And I do like what you were saying though about it's not just outcomes. Well, it's outcomes after they graduate, but at some level that's like that's the best world, right? I graduated, hopefully got a GPA that sort of attracted, what made them attractive to employers, got a good job, right? So that's kind of the happy path. But I like what some of the other things you were looking at. You also look at perhaps the not as happy path, like did they transfer? Did they drop out? Right. And so being able to look at all these different potential outcomes, some happy, some not as happy-ish, right? And then I'm guessing that data is then used to say, okay, so now what are we going to do about it? Right? Like we don't want people to drop out. We don't want people to transfer. Why did that happen? And blah, blah, blah. So
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. Let's dig in there and find out, okay, well, what is the source of the problem? And same thing with career outcomes. If there are certain students that have lower career outcomes, then what is the reason for that? What kind of things can we do to improve student outcomes for that, or career outcomes for that population?
Well, one of the areas that I've been pretty focused on, and this is with Personal Finance Reimagined, it's a little bit of an aside, but I think it's relevant here just to go on a little bit of a side trip. But the whole notion of first generation college students, right? And I think we kind of put them into kind of two buckets. I call them legacy generation, which is one or both parents went to college, and then first gen students, which are neither their parents went and got at least a 4-year degree. And what we see is that the outcomes are very different, right? Less of the first gen group statistically has been making it through to that happy path like we were just talking about. So I love what JMU is doing around that. Actually, with Personal Finance Reimagined, we provide personal finance related services, and kind of in the context also of relating it to jobs and whatnot with seminars. We work with the first gen group there at JMU. So anyway, so that's, but I look at that, the reason that's there, the reason why Personal Finance Reimagined is involved is because JMU saw the data, didn't hide from it. It's like, yeah, first gen students have more challenge getting to that graduate, get a good job spot. And so they put their money behind it, right? They put their, they put their focus on it. And I think, as far as I can tell, we're seeing some really exciting outcomes now that it works, right? That we're able to perhaps backfill some of which first generation families or first generation college students need to have backfilled. Of course, you can't replace the wonderful work that parents do, but there are certain things probably that do come in handy, and of course that's where we focus. So one of the things I did want to ask you, kind of switch gears back now, is one of the things that I've been really impressed by, Hadgu, you come to my class and you present to the students like really an amazing inventory of resources. So I was just wondering, if you were going to break it down and maybe summarize it, here for the folks that are viewing this video, what are some of those key essential resources that JMU has to offer students through your center?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So if you come to the University Career Center, you can come to our offices. You can make an appointment to meet with an advisor, and if you have a one-on-one appointment with us, we can help you with your resumes, cover letters, do a mock interview. Basically anything related to career development, we can help you with in those one-on-one appointments. We also have, as soon as you walk in, you'll notice that there are a lot of business attire, a lot of clothes. So we have a career closet
Wow.
with free business attire. We even have a fitting room where you can try stuff on. You can take up to 5 items for free every semester.
Let me ask you,
And
Hadgu, what's the
yeah.
uptake on that? Do you see a lot of people, students coming to get kind of professional clothes?
Yeah. Excuse me. Just about every day, there are
Wow.
students who will come and check out our career closet. And we've been increasing the size of the closet. We have a lot more than we did in the last couple of years. And we have articulation agreements with some local stores that are giving us some of their clothes.
Right.
So it's increased, and it's a great way to get people comfortable with our office and know where it is, and
Right.
then they can take next steps. Come to our events or make a one-on-one appointment with us. So yeah, the career closet has been
Wow.
wonderful opportunity
A big
for
hit, it
us.
sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's now, so
Um,
you said that, so you have relationships with local clothiers that yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty wonderful, right? So did you find that it was a challenge to like get them to be involved with it because they have to, it's giving up some of their inventory, or have they been like really, very positively engaged and volunteering to be part of it?
my colleagues were the ones who made those, who reached out to those folks. And from what I understand, they've been pretty cooperative and thought it was a great idea
Right.
to come up with a way to donate some of those clothes to us. So
That's
so I think
wonderful.
it's doing that outreach has been
Right.
great for us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. So those are a couple of things where we can help you. We also offer free headshots. So if
Right.
you have those clothes from the career closet, and you have business attire you want for a headshot, we can give you a free professional headshot. We do that once a week. And of course, we put on different events that allow you to network and meet with employers. Of course, our
Right.
career fairs. We have university career fair, which is for all JMU students, but we also partner with the different colleges within our university to put on more specialized career fairs.
Right. Oh yeah, so back my days at KPMG, we used to always have folks, they called it and I'm assuming it's still there, but called Meet the Firms, and it'd be the Big Four and lots of other professional services firms would all be there, and it's a great way for us to meet accounting, finance, College of Business, but it wasn't just related to College of Business, professional services firms tend to hire even broader, especially across STEM disciplines. So my recollection was that that was a really important part of our hiring process, was connecting with Meet the Firms and events like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great event. I've attended that a couple times. We don't work directly with that organization, but we're friendly with the people who put that on. And our other partners include the College of Integrated Science and Engineering to put on
Right.
and their acronym is SIZE, so the SIZE Career Fair. We had that recently last Tuesday, and had record numbers. So yeah, so things like that. There are great networking events for students, and we help the employers if they want to recruit on campus, and set up a table in a prominent location, and
Right.
try to get the word out to the students that that there's an opportunity to meet with an employer, and
Right.
learn about what kind of job and internship opportunities they have. So yeah, so students can take advantage of all this, and our website has links to all that information. However, our
Right.
website itself is a great resource for
Right.
preparing for interviews, and looking at sample resumes as you're making your resume,
Right.
or same with cover letter, and all kinds of other career development topics.
Right.
So yeah, all these are great resources.
Well, and the way I look at it too, Hadgu, is it's almost like you have so many resources that for the uninitiated, it might even become noisy, right? Like, oh my God, there's so much here. It's like, oh, somebody just opened up a fire hose and all this. I think it's really good stuff, but it's almost like it may feel to an uninitiated undergrad, underclassman to be a bit much. So what you just said about your website, right, the Career Center website, it sounds like that needed quarterback, right? Like, or almost like that one-stop shop where it's organized and you can say, oh, okay, here, yeah, there's 20 plus things, but here's a logic to how I should engage, almost like a workflow, right? And to me, that's really powerful, right? And especially with a university like JMU that has so many resources, you just run the risk of almost overwhelming. But it sounds like you guys are doing an amazing job with helping to bring it to the students in a way that kind of meets them where they are and in an order that kind of makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I would definitely say, go to our website first and see what's on the main page, and
Right.
kind of take it from there, because you'll see that there are student resources, and you can click on the student resources link and then see information about whatever topic you're interested in. If you want to
Right.
learn about best steps for how to put together a resume, you'll find that there. Um,
So, so I just wanted to ask real quick, and we've been focused on JMU because, of course, that's your sweet spot, and but I'm wondering, based on your sort of travels and your wider network and understanding of other universities, where do you think JMU fits in? Like my first response would be is JMU is awesome, but I'm a JMU grad, so I'm very biased in that way, right? But as a perhaps as as a more objective viewer, would you consider what JMU is doing kind of on the leading edge? Would you consider it, yeah, we're solidly in the pack, but there's other universities are doing interesting things as well? Like, how do you think that? How do you think? I guess what I'm really asking, Hadgu, is how do you feel like the university system, broadly is doing with connecting their undergraduates to the postgraduate world?
yeah, yeah. uh, from what I can surmise, I think that we're doing well. We're within the pack, but we're keeping up in the
Right,
race.
right,
There are definitely programs that certain universities have innovated that maybe we haven't yet, or we do, but have been innovated by others ahead of us. But I think that we're doing well for a university of our size, and
right.
similar, that provide similar offerings to students. Um, so
Sure.
I think we're doing well. Of course,
No,
we
that's
can always um, improve and come up with new ways of doing things to solve ongoing issues or problems that students have.
sure.
But I would say we're in the pack, but we're running strong in the race.
Good. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think that's particularly impressive because, JMU is, you know, I think still is fast growing, but certainly in the last 20, 25 years went from, single digit thousands to now almost being 25,000, right? So with the whole Ron Carrier, just that, the path that I think you could argue he kind of started, but other presidents, of course, have been there accelerating. But let's face it, JMU is a state college, state funded, state of Virginia, Commonwealth of Virginia. Plus, unlike perhaps the UVAs and William and Marys of the world, doesn't have nearly the size of an endowment, right? So I would, in my way of thinking, the fact that JMU is in the pack and in some cases, even leading parts of different pieces of this focus on career after college is very impressive, right? In terms of, just the resources that a state school like JMU would have compared to some others. So anyway, that's my feel good spin on the whole thing.
Well, I can't disagree with that.
Yeah. So let me just ask a question now, more shifting gears to if you were a freshman or a sophomore, or maybe even the parent of a freshman or a sophomore, so you're early, of course, in your academic career. Is it too early to start thinking about career, or on the flip side of it, what should you be doing? What are some of the essential development and preparatory steps that you should be taking on as a freshman and a sophomore?
Sure. So one thing I would say right off the bat to a student who's a freshman or a sophomore is that the decisions that you make as you're thinking about what you want to do, for your first job or your career in general, don't feel that you are making a decision that you have to stick with for the rest of your life. That, the decision you make now is something that you're going to be locked into for the rest of your life. You're making a decision based on who you are now, what your values are, what your needs are, what you think you would need for the kind of life that you want, and so that should be a consideration. Having said that, there are definitely things that you can do to prepare even early on. So I think if you're not sure exactly what you want to do career-wise, then talk to people in careers that you find interesting. And if you're starting from very little, you're not sure exactly what you're interested in, we can help you. For one, on our website, we have a page with a lot of interesting assessment questions that help you learn more about yourself, your values, your interests, your goals. But in addition, we have assessments such as the Focus to Careers that talks about all those things and then ties them to specific occupations that align with your interest, values, goals, and skills. And we have other assessments as well. The other thing I would say is networking. You can network, as a freshman, right? You can have a LinkedIn page. You can go to our university's page on LinkedIn. We have a really nice alumni tab that shows you alumni from that live all over the United States and all over the world, actually. You can search by what they majored in undergraduate. You can search by the kind of jobs that they have, and you can reach out to them and set up informational interviews and talk to them about their careers, their day-to-day careers. They can give you advice. They can tell you about their journey, how they got to where they are. So I think, practicing networking in that context, also, try going to a career fair, even if you are not looking for an internship or job, just to get some practice talking to employers so that when you do want to do that, you feel more comfortable and confident. So I think those are all good things that you can do. Update your resume. Freshmen and sophomores, I think they come to see us, when they're exploring careers, but also to get an idea of what their resume can look like. So, even that summer job that you did, you worked really hard from June to August, put that on your resume and we can help you do that. So getting in the practice of doing that is useful.
No, I love that, Hadgu. And as one thing that I heard, I heard a lot of great stuff. One thing I heard, though, because of my experience as an alumni, I can tell you, I do get reached out to periodically by students doing exactly that, an informational interview. Hey, can we talk for 15 minutes? I'd love to learn about banking, or, that sort of thing. I love it. And honestly, I think most alumni love it. Like, literally, like, it's the highlight of their week to be able to feel like they've connected and somehow had a positive impact on a JMU undergrad. So my only message is, don't be bashful. Like, you will actually make somebody's week just by reaching out to them and saying, hey, this is what I'm all about. Be a little vulnerable. I'm a freshman. I'm a sophomore. I've looked at your profile. Love what you're doing. I'd like to learn more. Could we chat? And guarantee you they'll be like, yeah, absolutely. So anyway.
That's wonderful to hear. That reinforces the message that we give to students.
I'm not alone. Put it that way. Before we wrap up, Hadgu, I did want to ask you about relationships with employers. Now, I mentioned I was with KPMG, and so I certainly have a perspective on my relationship when I was a lead partner there at KPMG with JMU, and it was great, right? Got to know the deans and the department heads, and we had a great relationship. They were educating amazing students, and we were hiring a lot of them. Right. So it was a good connection. But I was just wondering, could you speak? So that's my sort of focus group of one, right? My experience with KPMG. But I was wondering, could you just sort of speak to that? Is there a typical relationship, or what kind of relationship do you aspire to create with the employers that are, hiring on campus?
Yeah, so we have a great employer services team within the University Career Center. They set up our career fairs. They put a lot of work into that and establish relationships with employers and maintain those relationships. And that's where most employers go when they want to reach out to folks in the university and they want to recruit on campus. And I think that, going back to what you were saying about how alumni are very friendly and they appreciate the opportunity to give back and support our students, I think that comes through in relationships we have with employers. When you go to a career fair, you'll notice that there are stickers for employers who are JMU alums. And if you walk around the tables, you'll see almost every table, there's at least one employer with a JMU alum sticker. So, and they, and they're strategic about it, having someone who's a JMU alum come to our campus to do the recruiting. And I noticed that there's a network of relationships between alumni, faculty, our office, and the students that get students in their companies for internships, and then they give them offers for full-time jobs, and then those folks come back and to the university career fair, and the cycle continues. And I have limited experience in how that works at other universities, but I would say I've been quite impressed by how strong that network is. I just hope that continues and grows at our university.
Good. Well, Hadgu, I think this is a great great finishing point here. So first of all, thank you so much for joining today. With Personal Finance Reimagined and the teaching that I'm doing at JMU, I've loved creating that relationship with you, as well as the Student Success Center and the University Career Center. So that's been really wonderful. But before we go, I was just wondering, do you have any closing remarks or wrap up that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I guess in general, as I said before, for students out there, don't think that, as you're deciding on your career, that you're making a decision that you cannot change for the rest of your life. You are going to change and grow over time. Your needs are going to change and grow over time. But also, think about what you want to do career-wise, and try to do some networking, meet people, learn about careers. Other thing I would say is get some kind of practical experience if you're a college student. Before you graduate, have an internship or some other kind of practical experience, because the best way of knowing if you like something or don't like doing something is to actually do it. So yeah, that's what I recommend. And no matter where you decide to go to college or where you are, connect with your university career center. They'd be happy to help you.
Yes. Well, very good. Well, thank you, Hadgu, and I very much appreciate you joining us today. Have a great one.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.